Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports ethos presentation brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. My name is Aaron Bruski, and with me is the great Dr. A. Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. Today, we're going to get you guys caught up after a massive Wednesday night. All sorts of stuff going on. As usual, we'll start the show with a check-in on Dr. A's My Guys, as well as the Bruski 150 Players of the Night, the top ads from last night, and then we'll go to the Drop Zone. Doc, how you doing, sir?
Three massives. You said it was a massive Wednesday.
It was.
It's a lot of massives.
It was. I don't know. I got like 7 texts from you last night. I actually got a phone call from
you. Know how many how many of those got responded to?
How many?
0. You know how many of my phone calls were answered? 0.
Well, I was sitting down to have
I never even know if you're alive or not until we show up in studio the next day.
We had it was like the kids like jumping up and down all over the place, and we're just about to sit down for dinner, and it's all calm. It's like, okay, I think we're gonna have dinner. It's gonna be cool. We're all gonna be just like having dinner. Here comes the phone call. Like, I don't know if I should take this call right now. I think my wife might kill me. Let's hit some news here real quick. We got a bunch of injury updates. We're gonna just hash it out real quick here. We got Danny Gafford, ankle. He did not return to Wednesday's game. Quickly, I guess, Doc, let me ask you this. Are you hanging on to Daniel Gafford? You didn't expect me to ask you a question this early in the morning, did you?
No. Can I just pretend like you're calling me on the phone and I can just ignore it?
Oh, it does hurt your feelings.
I mean, I don't have any Danny Gafford. I don't. Yes, I want to hang on to Daniel Gafford. Would I cut him if I needed to? Yes.
That got you going this morning. That got the brain working over there. That's a tough one. I mean, he looks kind of dead to rights. I mean,
and if he's gonna be out for any period of time, I'm moving on. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, so you're going to wait for the next update? Is that fair to say?
I mean, it depends on who you can get, man. If there's a really good player sitting out there on your waiver wire, like would I drop Daniel Gafford for Andre Drummond right now? I probably would.
Oh, hell yeah. Drummond's like printing money right now, I think. So, yes, absolutely. But Gafford, I can't get over the first round run he had last year. There was a good month where he was absolutely going after it. Anyway, all right, we'll get on to more stuff here. But Danny Gafford, I would hold until we get a bad update, but it's not looking good. He's one more tweak away from it being pretty bad, it feels like. Ryan Kalkbrenner, he didn't finish last night's game with an ankle injury. Spencer Jones didn't return to last night's game with a knee injury. We'll talk about that later in the show. Bilal Coulibaly, I think we got the clue with him and what was going on with him. Oblique injury, likely to miss multiple weeks. Sarr's out, Bilal's out. Middleton's part-time. Is there anybody that you feel good about as a long-term ad here?
Oh, great question. I'm trying to no.
It's a little dicey, huh?
The fact that we were all like, I've been on Bilal Coulibaly. I was like, cut him. Like he's not good. And if you're playing with a strained oblique, that would explain why. Spencer Jones thing, total buzzkill. Like I thought he was going to go off yesterday. I looked at the box score. I was like, oh, nothing. And then you see he got hurt, which explains what happened. But and then I don't.
Nobody's floating your boat.
I mean,
there.
If Kalkbrenner is going to miss time, right? You want Diabate. That's the big one that I see.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on that a little bit later in the show. I think with Washington, it's I actually have a little bit of a thing on Washington later, but we got to see what's up with Alexander Sarr. I think he's probably doing better than it seems right now, as he's been missing a couple games. He takes up such gravity within the box score that if he's out, then it opens everything wide open for the Tristan Vuksevic's of the world and so on. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Some quick hits here. Noah Esenge undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery. That was a little bit of a tongue twister there. Colin Sexton, Noah Esenge. I hope I got that right. I actually like him. I think he's going to be a good basketball player, at least has a shot. Colin Sexton, he left last night's game with a left thigh injury. I think we can drop him. It feels like we can drop him. There's a lot going on in Charlotte that could be good for him, but he's not doing anything too good with it so far this season. So I'm okay with a drop there. Jalen Johnson ruled out. What's your concern level with Jalen Johnson?
I mean, it's right calf tightness. Hopefully it's just a day off. I mean, dude's been going balls to the wall all season. So hopefully he just needed a day off. I will tell you that I had him in my FanDuel lineup last night. When I realized that he was not playing, let's just say it's a good thing that there were not things to be kicked around or remote controls to be thrown through televisions, etc. Because I was mad. And it's my own fault. You know,
should have had the Sports Ethos app and open. Yep, should have the Sports Ethos. You got your Golden Tee on one side, you got your Sports Ethos app on the other. You just keep hitting the button, and it tells you what you need to know. The good thing with the Jalen Johnson thing is, at least I don't know, I saw it with my own eyes, that he got dinged up in what was it, the Minnesota game? Was it the Minnesota game? Anyway, it was. But anyway, he got hit in the calf, and then he went to the sideline. They wrapped it up in ice immediately. So I don't think it's like a muscle strain. I think it's more of a bruise. And he played that game. So with their schedule, and we got slapped around with our FanDuel prediction from yesterday because the Hawks ran out of gas. I think that they realized that as a team, and they're like, no, we're not going to risk Jalen there, especially with calf injuries being the injury de jour in the NBA.
So I'm not take the Hawks, but that's assuming Jalen Johnson is playing. If he's not playing, I hope he bailed out.
I probably, based on the logic I was using yesterday, I probably would have carried it out. But I also didn't like my logic when I made that prediction. So I hope you didn't tail me on that. Doc Rivers says that Giannis Antetokounmpo not believed to have suffered an Achilles injury. He's getting more. Actually got the imaging, and he's out to 2 to 4 weeks. We'll dive into that later on in the show.
Yeah, that's ironic, isn't it, Brew? Played 20 minutes, dropped like a sack of potatoes. Come on.
Don't you think? Hey, new listeners, how are you doing? Welcome to Sports Ethos. Welcome to Fantasy NBA Today. If you're new to Sports Ethos, head on over to sportsethos.com and check out our memberships, the B150 projections that go into the B150 rankings, which I've been doing for over a decade now. They power all the kinds of tools that you need to win your fantasy league, and the articles that we put in the NBA FantasyPass are quite literally the best thing on planet Earth. I'm kidding, of course. They are really, really good, though, and they help you win your league. Dr. A is my guys of the night. Let's hear them.
Thanks, Aaron.
Oh, I hate you.
Khalil Ware, bitches. Oh, Khalil Ware played 18 minutes. I'm going to freak out and put him in the drop zone and cut him. No, we're not doing that. As evidenced by my run through as I was walking out the door on Tuesday, every time Khalil Ware plays 18 minutes, he backs it up with 25, 26, 28 minutes and a bunch of goodies. Ware had 22 points, 4 triples, 10 boards, 2 assists, a steal and a block last night. Classic Khalil Ware. Guys, he's going to be up and down. Like, Spoelstra is not going to play him 28 minutes every night. We just have to live with it. We have to accept it. We have to get used to it. You can't panic every time Khalil Ware plays 18 minutes. If it happens 3 games in a row, you can officially panic. Other than that, man, you could not pay me to drop Khalil Ware.
What if I pay you 10 burritos? Would you?
I'd think about it.
Okay. All right. Now we're joking. Don't drop Khalil Ware. It doesn't matter how many burritos somebody throws your direction. Do not do that. I mean, I don't know what to say. He's like a top 30 to 50 guy, kind of with his eyes closed. So I would not drop Khalil Ware. I would pick any game that he has that goes bad, and then I would send the offer right then. I would do it every single time.
I know that there's been blurbs written everywhere, lots of different places. And people are like, "Oh, he's only played 18 minutes. You got to be careful." Like, no, I don't. Just look at the numbers at the end of the month, and then move on.
And move on. We shall. Who is your other Dr. A's My Guys of the Night?
Oh, I'm not done.
You got more.
I'm just going to shout out Josh Giddey. 28 points, 11 boards, 11 assists. Dude just keeps going and going and going. Kobe White being out certainly helps. And then NAW, Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the Hawks, who got blown out. He had 21 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, stealing 2 threes. And Denny Avdia, despite the questionable tag, kept it going with 27 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. I am also questionable for the rest of the show because my voice is going away.
And heaven forbid we let me talk the entire time.
Well, and heaven forbid, that I'm not,
That would not be good. I kid. You guys would love that. We got the Bruski 150 players of Wednesday. I would like to start with Evan Mobley. We got 23, 10, and 5 out of him last night. 2 steals, 5 blocks. Okay. 3 threes as well. He's been putting the kind of the bigger numbers up in the popcorn and the defensive stats all season long. Nothing to write home about. It's not like, some of these other breakout guys. But Evan Mobley, a top 15 pick, top 20, maybe in some softer leagues. But Evan Mobley went in the second round. Everybody was on Evan Mobley. To get Evan Mobley, you had to kind of go in late first round, early second round if you really, really wanted Evan Mobley. Well, Evan Mobley has really struggled this season. Cleveland struggled this season. I think Donovan Mitchell speaking up about their struggles highlights some of the stuff going on in Cleveland. And why can't Coach of the Year Kenny Atkinson rub 2 sticks together and do what JB Bickerstaff did a season before in Detroit? I can't figure this one out. But in the meantime, Evan Mobley, his free throw issue has been so pronounced this season. He's about 10 points under last year's number. He's taking more free throws. He's taking more shots. His field goal percentage is down. Well, maybe, just maybe, we're starting to see some improvement here. We got a 90.9% mark over the last 4 games here for Evan Mobley from the foul line. Hopefully, this is the turnaround we need in this department. And really, if they're going to be this banged up in Cleveland and they expect to have anything of what kind of a season they thought they were going to have, Evan Mobley really needs to be good. And they need to focus on getting him the ball in places where he can get a better than 50% field goal percentage. So those are the 2 things holding him back. Maybe this is the set wave where we see Evan Mobley turn it around this season. It could be the last best time for you guys to try to buy low on Evan Mobley. And I would absolutely do that. I think a top 30 player is in play for that discussion. You might be able to pull off a top 40 player with a good name. Kind of doubt it. But if you want to try to catch some top 12 rest of season value for Evan Mobley, this is probably the best time to do that. Doc, feel free to chime in if you want. But I will move us to the Sacramento Kingerbockers. They're finally playing the young guys, at least one of them. They're playing Maxime Reynaud, who had 25 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 threes. He got 32 minutes. It was kind of all over the place. I watched most of that game last night. Drew Eubanks played, but they kind of quickly went to Reynaud. This was against Houston, who did all sorts of weird stuff, but kind of played, I guess, mostly Houston Rockets basketball. They pulled away in the second half, and just it wasn't a contest. But Reynaud is now on the radar, and I think I said in the show before that I don't know if he was capable of staying on the floor, just with the way he plays the game. I don't know that I came away from this game thinking anything majorly different about what he's doing, but I kind of came away thinking if they're just going to throw him out there and live with the results, which is really what they should do. And yeah, we got to worry about Domantas Sabonis coming back, which might just wipe out his value. Pardon me. I think with right now, you're looking at a guy who's going to just sort of accidentally step into production. He can do a few things offensively. He can shoot. He can make a straight line drive. He can kind of get into the right positions. He's pretty heady down there in terms of just finding opportunities to get open. So I think he's going to score. I think he's going to struggle to rebound at a high level, but he will get you some boards. There's some potential for assists because he's a little bit of a heady player. I think the steals and blocks will be mid-range at best, but the bottom line is if he's getting minutes, he's worth a speculative add at this point in 12-team leagues. If you think that the next 2 to 3 weeks is something that you can, kind of gamble on here. I don't think we want to look beyond that because if Sabonis comes back, I do think for the most part, it will wipe him out. He might still hang on to 150 value, 175 value, but that's the outlook there for Renub. The one I'm more excited about is Malik Monk. Malik Monk, 25 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 5 threes, 30 minutes. I think this thing, I had this hard time holding onto Malik Monk. I ended up dropping Colin Gillespie. I can't believe I'm admitting this on air. I dropped Colin Gillespie, got him back the next week in a high stakes league because I was worried about dropping Monk and top 50 value. And if it holds, he's on track for something in that ballpark. So Malik Monk, this pivot in Sacramento is maybe on. And the last guy, Keon Ellis, he had no stats in 20 minutes. And I'm a little bit concerned about Keon. One, I think his explosion isn't what it was last season. So I'm a little concerned that there's an injury we don't know about. Two is I think they've screwed up Keon Ellis so bad in Sacramento that he's too scared to play basketball right now. If that switch flips and he goes just back to last year's production, and this is the pivot that we all want in Sacramento, then I think Keon Ellis is actually still a great asset and could have top 50 production if everything works out for him going forward, but it's been bad so far. Zach LaVine, I'll just round it up by saying, I think there's going to be bad nights intermixed there. Like one every 4 or 5 games is going to look like the 2 points. He got a steal and 2 blocks, so he saved that. 18 minutes. I think there's a lot of pouting going on with Zach LaVine, and I think that Sacramento is willing to bench him, if he doesn't have it in a given night. And so 3 out of 4 nights will be fine. 1 night will not be good. Doc, I've done a lot of talking. You got any thoughts on all that?
Oh, I hadn't noticed. Oh, yeah. I just woke up.
You didn't notice all of that? Oh, why are you going to sleep?
I just woke up. I was like,
was there a good nap?
I was having a great dream, dude.
Keep going with this?
No.
Oh, tell me about your dreams, Doc. No, don't.
Zach LaVine. I was going to talk about Zach later, or originally in the drop zone, because what do we do with Zach LaVine? He clearly does not fit in Sacramento. The fans have turned on him, right? Like, they don't like him. He knows they don't like him. Like, it cannot be fun to go play in front of people that are not happy that you're there. So where are we? Where are we with Zach LaVine? Like, what do you do if you have him on your roster?
I think what you do is you wait for DeMar DeRozan to get traded, and this all balances itself out. It all works itself out in the end, because at that point, then he kind of has to play, and they need him to shoot, and they need him to do Zach LaVine stuff. They just have too many players, as we thought immediately upon all of the players. And really, Russell Westbrook, he screws it up for everybody. Like, he might have good games, and he might, sometimes like he chases a rebound and you're just like, man, that dude at 38 or whatever he is going for it. And you're like, yeah, go Russ, go. But then he runs up the court and he does something incredibly stupid. And you're just like, Russ, and playing with that guy and having consistency and, all of the different things you want out of a basketball team is so rough. But you get rid of DeMar DeRozan and this gets so much cleaner for Zach LaVine. So I would hold. I would probably even consider a buy low. This is scary as all hell. I mean, do you think you could get Zach LaVine for a top 100 player right now?
I mean, probably. I don't see anybody being like, man, I can't part with Zach LaVine.
I think that's music to my ears, because the minute DeMar DeRozan gets traded, I think he goes right back to being a top 50 player.
And you know what the other interesting thing about the Kings to me is the fact that Keegan Murray is shining through like a bright light, despite all these guys needing the ball, is very exciting. If Keegan Murray played anywhere else, he would be a baller right now.
That's the story for almost all of them. But the other interesting thing for Keegan is he's getting a lot more defensive run in the paint, and you've noticed that in his defensive stats where he's in there blocking shots. And I worry about when Sabonis comes back, do they put him back more out on the perimeter defensively, and does he lose a little bit of the defensive stats that he's had? But he's been outstanding. He had another steal and block last night, 111. The scoring was down, but of course that's all related to Sacramento not knowing what to do with the basketball. And a little bit of too much Maxime Reynaud. All right, I'm learning. It's just a mess in Sacramento, but they did play the young guys, and that is a big time pivot indicator. And I know that the Los Angeles Clippers without Chris Paul rectified everything, and they now are a functioning basketball team, and all's well in Los Angeles. But if they call on DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento doesn't just gift wrap him immediately, that would be a mistake by Sacramento. And that one tiny thing in Sacramento will unlock them all. So I'm pretty optimistic about the bunch, though. Keon's stuff is certainly noteworthy. Jamal Murray, 52 points. Just wanted to shout him out. Great job. Doc, let's get to the ads of the night. Who is your top ad from last night?
Well, it was going to be Khalil Ware until you guys got me so fired up I had to make him my player of the night. But if Khalil Ware got dropped anywhere in any of your leagues, please pick him up. My top ad is Ryan Nembhard, Brew, of the Dallas Mavericks. Starting point guard for them now. He's sort of left Brandon Williams and D'Angelo Russell in his dust. He had 15 points, 3 threes, 5 boards, 13 dimes, and a steal. He played 34 minutes, and Brandon Williams played 14 minutes, and D'Angelo Russell played 15 minutes. So it is Ryan Nembhard time. Go pick him up.
Can't argue with it. I mean, the defensive stats are totally concerning in a standard league format, but what's not concerning is 13 assists. That's hard to do. And it's hard to do on that team. And he's doing it, and it looks like he has the respect of his teammates. That is awesome. I also like that Najee Marshall's picked it up. When you have good point guard play, it's the rising tide to lift all boats. Check out the Chicago numbers with Josh Giddey. Marshall, 18 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. It's finally Najee Marshall season. He's producing at a top 75 level. I had a guy ask a question on Twitter earlier this morning, kind of do you like Najee or do you like Kyle Filipowski more range? And my answer was Najee's on a heater right now, and he's got that top 75 play going right now, and he could keep that going for a couple of weeks here. But I guess conceivably he could keep it going indefinitely. I don't really see the roster machination that's going to kind of take it away from Najee Marshall. So it feels like it could fall apart for Najee Marshall at some point. But, Kyle Filipowski is more of something changes in Utah and he's good for the rest of the season. I would take Najee Marshall, I think, right now and ride it out and see if he falters, that you could get Kyle Filipowski at the right time later on. The road.
Staying in Dallas, Klay Thompson's been very good for them as well. 17 points, 5 threes, a block, 26 minutes. I've been out on Klay Thompson for 2 years now, but I've been talking about him every week because he's playing well for Dallas. He's hitting threes. He's just out there doing, layman's work, doing what he's supposed to do. Nothing flashy, nothing that's going to blow up a box score. But, he's another Dallas Maverick that if he's sitting on your waiver wire, he may be better than somebody on your roster.
Yeah, I don't think Layman or Dayton Megan the Stallion, but, to each their own. Giannis Antetokounmpo injured. This is really weird stuff. I didn't think it would happen so fast. We're not rooting for injuries, obviously, but that little spiel about don't let Giannis play last night, that was odd. Like, don't let Giannis play. I guess he's not going to play. He's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks with an injury.
Weird.
So we got
timing.
the scenario. We got the scenario we've been looking at all year. I'm going to cash a lot of bets, by the way. I have faded Milwaukee on so many preseason bets that there's going to be a lot of that, and that's going to be fun. But now we get the Kevin Porter show. He went for 26 points, 2 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals, 3 threes. We got Jericho Sims, a double-double, 15 and 14. Those are always fun to watch. It feels like the 12-year-old playing against the 6-year-olds whenever Jericho Sims goes off. Bobby Portis, 13, 9 and 5. Kyle Kuzma was not able to do anything really in the popcorn stats where he's good. 4 and 4 with 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Ryan Rollins, 22, 4 and 8. This game was a really fun, interesting game to watch. I watched it because of the Detroit side. AJ Green, 19 points, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 5 threes. So Giannis goes out, and you got to think this team felt like, okay, you don't want to play with us. Okay, we'll just show you how good we are. In general, with the Giannis report that comes out, then the injury hits, and these guys played Detroit really, really tough and ended up winning that game. Where are you at? What's your first line item when it comes to this Giannis stuff?
Well, the first thing is I'm proud of the breakdown we did yesterday, because we said that he may be done as a Buck. Like we may not see him play as a Buck again. And dude, he might really be hurt. Like he may have suffered a devastating injury last night, but the way it looked and the fact that it happened 3 minutes into the game, the fact that he was just like walking away from the basket and just fell down and then walked off under his own power.
You got the tinfoil on?
Very, very suspect to me, especially after you and I sat here for 20 minutes talking about how if I own the Milwaukee Bucks, there's no way in hell that I'm letting Giannis go out there and play. And then we're like, full transparency, let's call Adam Silver. Hey, Adam, I don't want Giannis to play, but I don't want it to look stupid. What should we do? Drop him 3 minutes. Just have him go down like he got shot in the leg.
I got to poke all sorts of holes in your theory, man. So this thing makes him look even more injury prone. And now you got to try to trade his ass? I don't know about that. I poke holes in your tinfoil hat, and I offer you to watch Better Call Saul.
You don't think that a memo went out to the league saying, FYI, Giannis is going down at minute 3 tonight?
When they all met on the 19th green, I don't know that. What is it? Who's the owner of the Bucks now? I forget. I think they sold to a hedge. Who is it?
Cole.
No. It was the VC guys came in and bought it, and I think they refactored it to another VC company.
Anyway, I don't know if he's
that's all you could do these days.
It was weird. I think don't sleep on Kyle Kuzma. He's going to go off probably in his next game. I think Kuzma's a great buy low right now. I think Bobby Portis is the priority here.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere.
And I think Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. are good to go.
Dude, we've been talking about the sell high on Ryan Rollins and thinking that the Giannis stuff would happen, I don't know, February-ish, January-ish. But it feels like that meme, why not both? It's going to be Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins for freaking ever now. It's going to be awesome. Like, the Ryan Rollins sell high is obviously over. It's just, don't do it. Just enjoy what you have.
Unless he ends up in the trade, and then you're not going to want him if he gets traded.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's really from the trading perspective. I finally saw a national writer, and I can't remember who it was, take on this thought process that I had, which is you got all these stars that are just disgruntled and bad and upside down value. I think this was in reference to Trae Young's contract, and I'll try to remember the writer as we go here. But basically, you got all these stars that are overpaid, that are, unhappy with where they're at. We might see the craziest trade ever known to man. And that's what I would love to see just from an entertainment standpoint. And then all bets are off. If Milwaukee's making this trade, it's just going to be very complicated, and whatever comes back will be whatever comes back. I don't think we plan for that. I think right now you hit that nail on the head with Bobby Portis. It feels like when you have a team that's got a lot of young players that are not established in the league, and I don't think Bobby's kind of like, sought after by other teams right now. He's a Milwaukee guy. Let Bobby Portis cook if you're the Bucks, and get some goodwill with the fans. And he's going to get the other guys going. And he was getting Jericho Sims going in that game. Sims had a nice and one, and Bobby's just sitting there like just beating the crap out of him. Kyle Kuzma is an interesting one because I don't think he's good enough to do anything. I think the game has sort of passed him by. But if you want to pump him up, and if you're the Milwaukee Bucks and there's teams like the Sacramento Kings who would be dumb enough to do something like this, try to sell Kyle Kuzma to a team like the Sacramento Kings, get him out there, get him numbers. So you might be onto something, I think, in that respect with Kyle Kuzma. And then in terms of predicting the future with this squad, do you want to try to get ahead of a sell high situation, Doc, with Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins? Are you thinking that far ahead with these guys? Let's say the doomsday scenario hits and Giannis gets traded and somebody that's a big usage guy comes back.
I mean, chances of that happening are very good, right? Those guys look incredible without Giannis there. Giannis isn't going away for nothing. Then again, where is Giannis going to go? Because me and my buddy Keelan sat here on the phone last night. You somehow avoided this phone call.
Did you call Keelan first, or did you call me first?
I think he may have been my backup plan, but I was calling to let you know that Julian Champagny went off,
and you won the burrito. I know, and everybody should know that I got the burrito for Doc.
Keelan and I went team by team through the entire league, and it's impossible
to trade these days.
Where is Giannis going to?
But that's my thinking behind this crackpot idea that you might get Ja Morant traded, Zach LaVine traded, Giannis traded. Who else is disgruntled and expensive? I don't know. But they got to go somewhere, right?
I mean, somebody is coming back to Milwaukee, and they're going to be a big name, and they're going to be heavy usage, and it's going to hurt Ryan Rollins. It's going to hurt KPJ. But I just don't live my life on what if this happens. We just don't know.
It's a third of the season after the trade deadline. It's not a lot.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna enjoy those guys while I've got them. If somebody wants to make me a strong offer for Ryan Rollins, I'll take it. I think I'm hanging on to KPJ.
But the bottom line with Milwaukee is there's not a lot of standout options. AJ Green, I think, is above the cut line now. I think he's a must roster player in 12-team leagues. It's not going to be pretty, but I think it's going to be. I think this team might actually become a decent fantasy squad in the sense that it's Ryan Rollins, it's Kevin Porter, it's AJ Green, and it's Bobby Portis, and after that, and Miles Turner, of course, it's like you got your core five there. Let them cook. Speaking of cooking, which has nothing to do with the next thing that's going to be talked about here, Doc, who's your next ad of the night?
I've extinguished my list. Oh, no, I have not. I have TJ McConnell and Jay Huff. Jay Huff did nothing last night.
What you doing with classic Huff?
He played 18 minutes and had 3 points and 2 blocks. I'll take the 2 blocks. TJ McConnell played 17 minutes. He had a better night. He had 14 points, 3 steals, hit 6 of 9 shots. But the 17 minutes were rough. That game was a blowout. Denver blew the Pacers out of the building. Jay Huff did not get abused by Nikola Jokic, and TJ McConnell stood by and watched from the bench as Jamal Murray went off for 52 points. So
that's brutal stuff. I
think this is a good buy low on both of them.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm adding TJ McConnell whenever I can get a chance in 200 player formats for sure. In 150 player formats, it's a little bit iffy. I'll say that it's probably situation dependent. Just the minutes are low, and he's an injury risk, and we need to see him sustain top 75 here pretty soon, like within a week or two. It's been a rough start for TJ McConnell just in terms of health, and he had that one game where he played 6 minutes. That's such a brutal thing. It's like, is it going to happen again? Is it going to happen in 2 days, 3 days, 5 days? When are you going to do that to me, TJ? So he's going to have to get it consistent here for us to be really happy about that top 75 potential. But in terms of Huff, the whole team struggled, and that's going to be a problem for Indiana. And the fact that he still got you 2 blocks and a 3, maybe a silver lining there. It's when it goes bad for Huff, the scoring is down and rebounding is already a problem for him. And in a bad game against a tough opponent, that was not really a game he can leave a mark, which he did in this game. Another guy whose line was not good, Moussa Diabate. I'll bring up our next ad of the night. Moussa Diabate, 2 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 20 minutes. But you got Ryan Kalkbrenner leaving the game. He's actually had a decent line off the bench, Kalkbrenner. So I don't know if there's a changing of the guard here. I don't know if I'm ready to go there with that because Kalkbrenner's fantasy game is pretty rock solid. It's just efficiency, good boards, blocks. You love it. It ranks well. It's all good. But if Diabate, who's been a late round value for the most part, most of the season, if he's going to get any daylight at all, I'm just intrigued to see if he can be a top 100 guy, even in the timeshare. And so I'm not telling you guys to run to the wire and get him. A lot of you guys don't need a center like that. You play in 1 center leagues. If you have a 2 center situation, I do think you should be aggressive and try to add Diabate. If 150 plays in your league, for sure, go and add Diabate. And then maybe, who knows, maybe Kalkbrenner doesn't, maybe he has some sort of an issue that causes him to struggle going forward. But other than that, elsewhere in Charlotte, Con Knippel, 31.4% shooting last night. He's been dipping on the shooting. How's your Knippel rating going on right now, Doc? How's your Knippels?
I'm still good with Con Knippel. I'm waiting.
You're not biting on that question.
I feel like these guys come out of college where they don't play that many games, and then they play NBA, and it's like they have to break it into 3 seasons. And I feel like he's at the end of the first part of the third of the season where he's like kind of running out of gas. He needs to rejuice, needs to pick it back up. But I love Knippel. I think he's good to go for the rest of the year. I just think there's going to be some ups and downs.
Holding it together. Hey guys, if you like what you're watching here on the show, and you're watching on YouTube, just drop a quick like on this video and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel. We appreciate it. Let's get to the drop zone, Doc. Kick us off. Who are you kicking out of your teams, or who are you hanging on to?
Spencer Jones getting hurt last night was total buzzkill, and I think you picked him up, you were shooting for the moon, it didn't work out, you drop him, you pick somebody else up, right? Go get one of those guys we talked about in the ads. Go get Ryan Nembhard, for God's sake. Tobias Harris is a very interesting case study. So
let's hear more.
He had 20 points last night. You're like, damn, that's awesome. Tobias Harris got me 20 points and 5 threes. He had 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 5 rebounds. Like there's just not a lot there. And the 5 3-pointers was a season high. Like that's not going to happen very often, right? And then You look at his November numbers or his November game log. You see 0.2 steals, 0.5 blocks, two assists. I can't. He has way more name value than he does fantasy value.
Well, since we're talking Detroit, and I'm resident Dennis Jenkins guy, and I do gotta say that I did mention this was going to be bad for a week or two with Dennis Jenkins. But Detroit as a whole, they've got some figuring out to do. They got some figuring out to do. Sorry for all the clicking, Andre. I'm not convinced that their current configuration is the right one. Like, I wonder, Asar Thompson is struggling so badly out there. And some of this, I think, is he's being he's playing small forward out there. Now, it's all about who he defends, and he's defending all sorts of different players on the court. But, like, I think you can bring Tobias off the bench, and you can move Asar Thompson to power forward and take some of the pressure off of Thompson to have to shoot the ball, because he's a non-threat out there. He's afraid to shoot right now. He's not even like, he's making so many bad plays on the court right now, Asar Thompson, that I wouldn't be surprised if his minutes start coming backwards. And that, I think they got to ask themselves, like, Tobias can kind of do anything anywhere. Like, he's put him on the bench, start him. He's just Tobias Harris. He's just going to do Tobias Harris stuff. But Asar Thompson is your future. He's what makes you special. If you're in the playoffs and you need to play Asar Thompson to, in a matchup situation to cover a really good player, in a high-end squad, you need Asar Thompson to be good at this. And so up at the top of the rotation there, I'm just thinking, like, okay, so you bring Asar off the bench, or pardon me, you bring Tobias off the bench, you bring Asar into power forward, and then you start to try to figure out, okay, what are you doing with Cade and what are you doing with the rest of the team? And since Cade plays such a style that's, so it's like rigid in the sense that you're going to give the ball to Cade, have a bunch of shooters around him, get out of the way, let him work, and hope for the best. They're going to have to figure that out. And then the Dennis Jenkins stuff, I do think that they have committed to playing him as the lead playmaker when Cade is off the floor. It's not panning out right now in the box score. Not a lot of shots in this game for him. I watched, his activity was fine. I think the ball just kind of, what happened was Milwaukee actually played a ton of zone against those guys, like all game long, and they couldn't crack the zone to save their life. So your take about Tobias is totally reasonable. And I think with Tobias, he's a back end of the 150 guy anyway. So yeah, you just drop him. But as far as this entire team goes, I do feel like in about a month, you're going to see them switch up at the top at power forward and move Tobias to the bench. Just a hunch.
It's interesting listening to you, Brew. I'm like, man, the Pistons must suck. Like, they've got to change the way they're doing things. Like, they must be terrible. Dude, they're 17-5. They're in first place in the East.
They are in first place. I'm going to check their recent record. I want to say they're like
7-3.
No, but like into their last 6, I want to say they're 3-3. I'm getting the intel right now. But that's
one of those was a 1-point win over.
I'm clicking, and I'm sorry, Andre, I'm clicking. But lately, if I lightly click here, they lost to the Bucks. They barely beat Atlanta, and then after that, they barely beat Miami, which they almost lost in the last second in that game. Lose to Orlando, lose to Boston. So a couple things go the other direction, and that's looking like a 4-game, 1-4 stretch. I'm telling you, they can't like what's going on in Detroit. And Asar Thompson, he's in the drop zone for me. Like, he's not a player I want to drop because, of course, you invested a top 50, 60 pick in him, but there's no indicator at all, barring some kind of a lineup change or a shakeup, to get him into a better position, that his numbers are going to change. And it's going to be, it's just going to be different. It's going to be different for him this season. He needs to do a lot more to get to the levels that people thought he would be. I'm going to hang on to Dennis Jenkins for another week or so at minimum, just to see how things shake out there. Call me crazy, but that's what I'm going to do. Doc, do you have any honorable mentions, or do you have anything to say? Do you want to chide me for the Dennis Jenkins stuff? It took you guys 20 minutes in production to get on me for that, and we haven't done it once right now.
I mean, dude, you're going all in on Dennis, and I God bless you, brother. I mean, that's the crazy stuff that I usually do. I feel like I'm being more conservative and chilling, like, and again, I have stake in Dennis Jenkins. I want him to do well. I just don't have the faith that you have that it's going to happen. But one guy I wanted to talk about while we're in the drop zone, and I'm by no means saying drop Dyson Daniels here, but in November he averaged 11 points, 7 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals. I don't know that that's what we signed up for, right? And in 2 December games, we're 12.5 points, 4 boards, 3.5 steals, or 3.5 assists, and 3 steals. What do you do with Dyson Daniels, dude? He hasn't made a 3-pointer in 4 straight games. He's not really hitting threes. He's not scoring the basketball. I mean, all he's really doing is getting you some boards, some assists, and a lot of steals.
And not as many as last year.
I overbought. I overdid it on Dyson, and I still like him, but the Hawks are so rounded. It seems like they're too good for their own good. They're too good for Dyson's good anyway. What do you do with him if you've got him, Brew?
I got 2 angles here, I think. One is that it's like an open thing that's being discussed amongst players and the NBA that Dyson's struggling shooting the ball, to put it nicely. Like a Chris Paul walking over to Dyson Daniels, kind of putting his arm around him and saying, "Hey, dude, shoot the ball. Like, have confidence, shoot the ball." That made it into a story the other day. So I think everybody knows he's not going to shoot. And it's when you're that level of a non-shooter at the guard position, it just screws everything up. And it's such a mind bleep to have that happening when you're every time you get the ball, there's a guy that's 4 feet away from you. And now you got to try to figure out how are you going to attack that. You know, Rajon Rondo, we used to go through that, and he would try to take that space. And you've been seeing Dyson Daniels try to take that space. And the great Kevin Chouinard, who always has incredible insights on the Atlanta Hawks, like actually noticed that Dyson made a little bit of a change with that situation. Instead of going to the spin move, or the dice move, as it would be, the spin move, and losing his side of the basket, he just went to a floater the other day. So I think he's trying to learn or relearn how to play as a non-shooter, a true non-shooter. And the only thing that's going to save his fantasy value is getting out of that mind play, that bad spot. He's going to have to work through that, and plenty of players before him have been there. It kind of reminds me of Matisse Thybulle. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to Ben Simmons the guy, but Matisse Thybulle, he kind of went up and down and really played his way kind of almost out of the league in a sense, because of not being willing to shoot. And I think toward the end of his career, he got a little bit more friendly shooting the ball. But Dyson's going to be a top 75 guy until he can figure one of those things out. If he can get comfortable with the driving game and get back to that, then I think he can kind of move it back to top 50. If he can do the whole thing, just shoot with some confidence, I think he could be a top 40, top 30 in a 9-cat situation. But he needs to go, what's that ayahuasca stuff? That people are taking these days. He needs to go on some retreat. I don't know if that's approved by the NBA, and I don't think that's close to what that's actually called, but he needs to do something to get his mind right so he can just let it fly. All right. Yeah, I went there. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this show. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to keep the content coming, super simple. If you're listening on a pod feed, take 60 seconds, drop us a 5-star review. That helps us a ton. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're going to be right back with tonight's slate. on the other side. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Doc. Thanks to the content team. For Steve, Andre, and all of us here at Sports Ethos, we will be right back with a preview of tonight's slate.
Khalil Ware. Long live Khalil Ware.
Presented by FanDuel.